Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. This is a reaction to some Tearzu. It's been a long time since I've reacted to one of his videos, but this one is America's Secret Top Tier Animal. And I just saw this on my homepage and yeah, I realised I haven't watched this channel, reacted to this channel for a long time. And also, I mean, it was a pretty interesting topic as well. So I guess we're going to just check this out, hopefully going to enjoy. Links are in the description to my Patreon if you want to see some more of my reactions that I can't post to YouTube. Movie reactions, TV series reactions, all that good stuff. Links are there for those interested. But let's check this out and see America's Top Tier Animal. Is that a coyote? Oh. Is that a coyote? I don't think it is. But, I don't know.
Cheetahs are low-tier trash. The fastest land build in the game has a ton of flaws in its game plan, which you could learn about in this video here if you like. But enough about cheetahs. What about the second fastest? Do you even know what it is? How does it stack up against its competition? I talk a lot on this channel about how overpowered the animals in the Africa server are. And while that's certainly true, the North America server also has its fair share of builds with ridiculously OP stats, including one little known build with the second fastest run speed in the entire game.
The second fastest animal. So the fastest is a cheetah. Oh, turn that off. Second fastest. Maybe some sort of deer? I have no clue.
You might expect it to be a type of big cat. Maybe a close relative of the cheetah, like the mountain lion.
Oh my.
Or perhaps a type of cervid, like a deer or elk.
Okay.
But no, it's actually the smallest member of the giraffe family. One that most players probably wouldn't expect to be related to the giant that we know and love.
What?
The American pronghorn.
Wait, this is related to the giraffe fam. What?
The pronghorn may not look like much, but it sports some pretty impressive stats, including the second highest base mobility stat of any terrestrial animal, with only the cheetah having a higher top speed. This makes it faster than every other build in the North America server by a substantial margin. Pumas, bears, and even wolves have essentially zero shot at closing the distance to a pronghorn player.
Wow.
Pronghorns have much more endurance than most predators, and are able to maintain these high speeds for significant distances, not just short sprints as most predators do. Pronghorns also have horns on their head which can deal decent damage in a pinch, although it's pretty rare they'd actually need to use them for anything other than dueling against each other. Still, these sharp, keratinized horns can definitely do some damage. Pronghorns aren't particularly stealthy because of their bright white back end. However, even with how noticeable they are, if you ever see a pronghorn, it's almost certain it sees you first. Their eyes are incredibly sensitive and can detect movement from 4 miles away. Because of their huge...
That cannot be true. From 4 miles away. It can... How? That doesn't even make sense. I don't think there's... Can cameras even go that far? I mean, there's probably some of the best cameras can. But zooming in that distance, I mean, that is just crazy. Holy shit.
Field of view, this makes it borderline impossible to sneak up on a pronghorn, unless your build has some insanely high level stealth abilities. Pronghorns have one of the lowest HP stats of any North American ungulate. They of course share a server with builds like the elk, moose, and buffalo.
I mean, they're kind of similar, to be fair. The moose is like the... Oh, sorry, the buffalo is like the top dog in terms of like the strength, I guess. But yeah, so the buffalo, it's kind of in order, to be fair. These are all just bigger versions, but they probably have, I mean, they don't have the speed at all, but I don't know how fast. Elks are probably relatively fast. Moose, I don't think moose are that fast at all. But maybe they can run quite fast, because I think 4-legged animals will just be able to run faster than humans in general. But I've seen mooses being, like, they're huge. I've seen a video of someone, like a moose just walking past someone, and they're hiding just behind a tree. And they are massive. I don't know if they're aggressive, but they are scary animals.
All with a massive health bar, making them near impossible to bring down solo. Conversely, pronghorns rely entirely on their speed stat to keep them safe, and can't really afford to take any damage.
Oh, they are a lot smaller.
At all. For the most part, the pronghorn's general game plan works great. Because they have the ruminant ability, their food is abundant, as they're able to digest grass, shrubs, and even cacti if necessary.
What?
They also are able to consume plants that are toxic to builds like sheep, cattle, and horses, meaning they don't usually compete for resources with livestock. and so as long as they don't get careless, pronghorns are usually able to evade most conflict. So why is the pronghorn so uniquely fast? Its immense speed stat legitimately feels like overkill, and I would argue that in the current meta, it absolutely is. However, the pronghorn has been one of North America's top survivalists for a long time, through several balance patches and expansions. And during the Younger Dryas expansion, there were additional, speedier threats that the pronghorn player base had to contend with, namely the American lion and American cheetah. These felid builds were extremely dangerous to a lightweight, evasive style build like the pronghorn. The American cheetah in particular had a max speed stat roughly equivalent to its African and Asian counterparts.
I didn't even know there was such thing as an American cheetah. That's the first I've heard of that.
But was also bigger and bulkier than the modern cheetah. And so during that particular ranked season, the pronghorn wisely opted to max out its speed and endurance in order to evade attacks from these American felids.
Okay.
However, these felids were banned with the launch of the Holocene balance patch, leaving the pronghorn hugely overtuned for its remaining competition. Still, this didn't mean automatic success for the pronghorn. In fact, their player count was dwindling up until very recently. The reason for this is that pronghorns are extremely poor vertical jumpers, and so they're heavily impeded by any sort of barrier. They require open terrain with good visibility in order to remain competitively viable. So when human players started constructing barriers made of sharp metal, things got really dangerous really fast for the pronghorn. Most of the herbivore builds in the North American meta can easily clear the vertical of an average barbed wire fence, but pronghorn players usually opt to crawl under barriers if possible.
Oh, wow.
Because of the pronghorn's low HP stat, even relatively mild chip damage from barbed wire fences can deal lethal damage to a pronghorn. This issue was really
I don't like that.
frustrating to deal with as a pronghorn main, and so most of them just opted to play characters with better vertical mobility. But eventually, the human player base realized how unfair this tech was, and opted to self-impose a ban on the tech in important areas. As a result, the pronghorn player base has recovered massively and is no longer at risk of collapsing.
Okay.
So I don't know if I can quite give them an S-tier rank, since they're highly vulnerable to disruption if any sort of major balance patch imposes a lot of barriers into their territory. In addition to the obvious things like human structures, like roads and fences, any increase in woodland biomes would also severely hamper their ability to detect predators or run for long distances to escape. This is the main reason why pronghorns, despite still being faster than any of their potential competition, have failed to make an impact in biomes with less open spaces, such as the woodland tundra biome of the backcountry of Canada, or the jungles of Central America, where stealth-based builds like the puma and jaguar have more of an advantage. Now, to be fair, having an unfavorable matchup versus a jaguar isn't saying much. They are the undisputed top-tier predator throughout the entirety of the Central and South American jungle biome. But it would be impressive to see them diversify their playstyle a bit to see if they could be more competitive in less open terrain, as their other giraffoid ancestors used to be. Especially since the pronghorn's other main weakness is made worse by the fact that they spend time in completely open spaces. That weakness being their vulnerability to aerial attacks. With no tree cover, pronghorns have nowhere to hide from the one predator that actually is able to keep up with them.
Yeah, but that's a bird. What's the bird gonna do to a pronghorn, like this size animal?
The golden eagle. They may be the second.
Wait, a golden eagle's that strong? I know they're big, but compared to like a pronghorn, which it looks like it's not necessarily that big in terms like compared to like moose and stuff, but in general compared to an eagle, it looks pretty big. Maybe the young ones are at risk, but I didn't know they could do this much damage.
Second fastest land build in the game, but if you include flying builds, most birds beat this speed pretty easily, especially predatory birds. Still, it's hard not to respect a build that managed to adapt so effectively that its strategy hard countered the game plan of their main opponents, driving them to complete and total irrelevancy. Then again, is it really that big a flex that a variant of the cheetah build ended up not being viable in the current meta? I wouldn't be that surprised if, given enough time, the African antelope mains also started speccing into higher speed or greater bulk in order to invalidate the African cheetah's only favorable matchup.
Anyways, with all that being said, I'm going to give the pronghorn the rank of A tier.
Damn,
This video is brought to you by my
got a pretty decent rank. Well, there we go. The pronghorn. I didn't know about it before, but it's related to giraffes and it's goddamn fast. He calls human structures a balance patch. This really underlines just how OP humans are. if we're talking ancient survivalists, how come we haven't heard anything about monotremes? I don't know what that is. Like, platypuses. I forgot about platypuses. They're so cute, aren't they? And echidnas? How did you say this again? Echidnas? I think it is. I forgot what they are, though. Yeah, they're some of the oldest and most unique mammal builds in the game. Let me just see. I forgot what animals they are. Oh, they're so cute. They're like little hedgehogs, but they eat ants. They're so cute. Wait, they are literally just hedgehogs. Unless they just do other stuff. They look just the same. Well, if they are or not, I love hedgehogs. They're so cute. Oh, they're a bit different. But yeah, they're a bit different. These look a bit more ratty, and these just look a bit more anteatery. And also, platyp. These are so cute as well. I don't know how big they are, but they love Cold War, right? I don't know. Maybe that's not true, but what a fascinating structure. What a fascinating build. So where are its eyes? Oh, they're here. It's like a duck mixed with a rat. You gotta love to see it, man. It makes me happy just seeing animals like that. It's just, they're so innocent. I love seeing majestic herd. I like seeing a majestic herd of pronghorns on the Great Plains. I got that a bit wrong. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Hopefully you enjoyed, and until next time, peace.